Dr. Larry Kobylinski. Larry, I'm going to start with you because I want to set the table for what we expect and what we don't before the arguments are made off the same. One, going for the death penalty means you better have your case airtight. Prosecutors getting beat up for not giving enough information to the defense, which is being perceived as maybe they're hiding something. Is there any reason for concern that they did not get the DNA, process the DNA, identify the DNA the right way?
I don't think that's a concern at all. These labs are all accredited. They're all using validated technology. It's the same kind of technology used around the country. So to argue that they got it wrong, you'd have to go into all the minutia of their lab notes. It's something that I do routinely when I'm on a case, and I don't think it's going to amount to anything helpful for the defense, although you never know. I think they've done it right, and I think their conclusions are right.
All right, so the big question then is, then why didn't you find the DNA of the victims in the places you're supposed to find it? And that's the concern, is that what they didn't find where it wasn't could be enough for just one juror. Mark Garagos, take us through it.
Well, Larry does a nice job of presenting the prosecutorial slant on this. The problem that the prosecution's got is that the prosecution is now going to be arguing, hey, there's no cell phone evidence that ties him to the location. Hey, there's no DNA that ties him to location other than touch on the sheath. Hey, we don't have any triangulation. And hey, he must have cleaned it up, even though we know he was in and out of there in a time period, as you might remember, Chris, that is getting increasingly compressed. And hey, by the way, we sealed the records in this case, or we asked the judge to seal the records because we thought there were other suspects, and lo and behold, what do we learn now? That there are not one but two unidentified male specimens that arguably are at the scene. I beg to differ.
I'm going to set a deadline for all the information to be provided to the court by December 1st. That should be sufficient time.
The clock is ticking for prosecutors in the University of Idaho quadruple murders case as a judge implements a new deadline for the state to hand over DNA evidence to be used in the trial.
It seems like this is really just the beginning of the process.
In a last-minute hearing on Thursday, Judge John Judge gave accused murderer Brian Kohberger a win when he implemented a December 1st deadline. That means prosecutors have just under a month to turn over genetic genealogy and DNA evidence to the defense. Brian Enton, a senior national correspondent with News Nation, was in the courtroom on Thursday. He tells Long Crime Network the entire hearing centered around genetic evidence the defense is hoping to get its hands on.
Basically, the reports have to go to the judge first to review. There's a lot of confidential information that could possibly be in these reports because they involve like family trees of people who are totally unconnected to the case. So the judge has to review the reports first. and then we'll decide what to give to the defense. But the judge hasn't even gotten the reports yet. It came out in court today. The prosecutor said that they're still waiting on reports from the FBI. It's turning into this really long process. And so the new deadline for the judge to get the reports is now December 1st.
Now remember, DNA evidence is a big part of the state's case. That's how they tied Kohberger to the murders in the first place. Part of the hearing, Enton says prosecutors noted they're working with both the FBI and a private lab to receive information.
It sounded like they were having an easier time getting the reports from the private lab, but the delay really seems to be with the FBI. The prosecutor said that before the FBI can send the report, they had to get permission from the DOJ. So it's just turning into like a really, really long process.
Does it sound like something prosecutors are confident can happen in less than a month, have all of these reports ready to go?
No, they did not sound that confident to me in court today. It sounds like they're, sort of at the mercy of the FBI. The prosecutor said that he was going to call the FBI again today and try to push them along, but they say that they're waiting on the FBI to send them the reports so that they can then send the reports to the judge.
When that information does finally come down, the judge will have to review it, and it's possible he could deem some of the information inadmissible.
In the order addressing IGG DNA, I also understand that the state and the defense have different lists. So I will look at it and I'll muddle through it as best I can.
We've also talked about the prosecution a lot here, talking about the information that they're hoping to gain from the FBI. But did the defense speak up at all about anything?
Yeah, the defense is frustrated. I mean, it came through today in court. They've been waiting on these reports.